Welcome to the Sustainable CT Actions and Impact Preview for the marvelous month of March 2025. Brought to you in part by our good friends at the Tremaine Foundation. Remember, the Emily Hall Tremaine Foundation seeks and funds innovative projects that advance solutions to basic and enduring problems, and we are so glad they do. Visit them at tremainefoundation.org. Sustainable CT seeks state funding. That's right. We testified at the Connecticut General Assembly Appropriations Committee public hearing on the governor's proposed FY 2026-27 budget for conservation and development state agencies on February 26 in support of HB 5722 to provide funding for sustainable CT at $1 million over 2 years. Board of Directors co-chair Michael Picaro and Board Treasurer Joshua Kelly testified on our behalf. They were followed by our Executive Director, the extraordinary Jessica LeClaire. Additional written testimony was submitted by scores of partners and friends, and letters of support were provided by officials from 17 Connecticut municipalities and 4 councils of government. You can help us in this effort by contacting your legislators today. Urge them to support funding for Sustainable CT in this legislative session. And please do show us a little love on social media. Tag us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sustainable CT, and on LinkedIn at Sustainable-CT. And don't forget to use the hashtag #SupportSustainableCT. Let's make sure our legislators know that funding Sustainable CT is a smart investment in our shared future. And thank you. In Elements this month, hey, compost happens, am I right? Please join us for our March coffee hour when we'll talk all about public school composting and food diversion programs. We'll learn how the towns of Fairfield and Suffield have successfully implemented composting and food diversion programs in their school systems. It's a timely example of communities addressing school food scrap recycling, as K through 12 schools were recently added to the Commercial Organics Recycling Law, going into effect on July 1st. Remember, you can join Sustainable CT for virtual informal discussions most third Thursdays of each month. We share program updates and resources, explore your questions, and strengthen the network of Sustainable CT champions. Yes, we do. These sessions are free, and you know that free is good and open to all. For your edification, your enlightenment, and your entertainment too, it's The Impact, a Sustainable CT podcast. Danielle Cheesebro, Stonington's first selectman, joins us for a great conversation. Danielle knows a thing or two about responsible investments because before she was first selectman of Stonington and a member of Sustainable CT's board of directors, Danielle spent 8 years as a senior analyst of investor relations with the United Nations Global Impact. We ask her, among a host of other interesting and important questions, why she thinks a state investment in Sustainable CT is such a great idea. This month's episode of The Impact will be available on the Ides of March. Yikes! Yes, March 15th at sustainableCT.org and wherever you get your podcasts. And in the Community Match Fund this month, Vernon is replacing its community garden beds. Vernon's Raised Bed Garden program offers not just space to grow plants, but also gardening education in the form of talks and personalized advice from a master gardener, as well as free seeds and fertilizers and a sense of community amongst the gardeners. Let's help that garden grow. You know, Sustainable CT and Actions and Impact, this very newsletter, and me speaking to you right now, it's all made possible in part by the Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut. That's right. The Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut brings people together to work towards a healthy, thriving, and sustainable Eastern Connecticut, and that's a very good thing. Visit them at cfect.org. Remember, Sustainable CT is independently funded. We don't have a magical rainbow unicorn money train, no sir, but you can be a Sustainable CT sponsor. Find out how at sustainableCT.org. You'll be glad you did. In conveyances this month, the New Haven Public Schools and Mayor Justin Elicker celebrated the completion of the first cycling PE class with second graders at Wexler Grand Community School. This 6-week pilot program teaches students how to bike or to grow in their biking skills and all about bike safety. The project was a collaboration with a whole bunch of folks and us, the Sustainable CT Community Match Fund. So, huzzah! Speaking of the Community Match Fund, Governor Lamont announced the Connecticut Department of Housing is awarding $12.8 million in grants to 8 municipalities for infrastructure upgrades that will modernize and rehabilitate housing for low and moderate income residents. What does the CMF have to do with this, you ask? Well, among the grantees is Ashford's Pompey Hollow Senior Housing Authority, which received bonus points on its application for having a community match fund project. huzzah again. Everyone's favorite environmental reporter, Jan Ellen Spiegel, writes in the Connecticut Mirror that access to a $20 million community change grant is inaccessible since the Trump administration took office in January, and 2 other New Haven grant programs, which began operating again after an initial freeze, reverted to suspended as well. Our friends at the Connecticut Green Bank announced the launch of its 12th offering of their award-winning Green Liberty Notes. Now in its 4th year, the successful crowdfunding program continues to support local businesses and economic growth all across Connecticut. Heck yeah. The Yale Program on Climate Change Communication released a new report, Climate Change in the American Mind, Public Perceptions of the Health Harms of Global Warming, Fall 2024. Based on their latest national survey conducted in December of 2024, they find Americans have become increasingly aware of the health harms of global warming, and many understand that certain groups of Americans are more vulnerable to these harms than others. Check that out. As we all navigate a critical moment in Washington, D.C., the Alliance needs your input to understand the devastating impact that proposed Medicaid and other federal funding cuts could have on your organization and the communities you serve. Please take a few minutes to complete their survey, okay? The Connecticut League of Conservation Voters released the Connecticut delegation scores for the League of Conservation Voters 2024 National Environmental Scorecard, highlighting our state's leaders and their work to protect our environment despite the extremism and chaos from anti-environmental members of Congress. The Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, that's deep to you and me, have a wealth of resources to share, including many funding opportunities and featured job listings. Far too numerous to list here. You'll want to check out DEEP's Equity and Environmental Justice newsletter for March. In our chronology section, where time waits for snowmen, the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities is holding its 5th annual Representation Matters training right now. It's an inclusive and empowering virtual discourse that encourages racially diverse candidates to run for public office or serve on boards and commissions. And you can still register for the 2nd day of this free training. Take place on March 8th, starting at 10 a.m. Don't miss that. Energy Star's got it all going on this month. Improve your skills by registering for an upcoming no-cost webinar. Energy Star will help you learn more and do more. 11 different webinars are scheduled this month, along with how-to guides, demo videos, and recorded webinars. Do take a look at that. Join Fairfield County's Community Foundation on March 13th at 6:30 p.m. for a conversation with Kwame Owusu-Casey, CEO of Harlem Children's Zone. Discover how HCZ is breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty in Harlem and in communities across the country through its groundbreaking model that supports scholars from cradle to career. It's a free, in-person event, Darien Community Association, 274 Middlesex Road, Darien. And it's Women's History Month. Did you know that? Well, it is, and FCCF is hosting a Lunch and Learn, engaging women in public leadership. Join a panel of local women holding public office at the state or municipal level who will share their pathways to elected office and discuss the opportunities that the current climate presents for women to lead. Another free in-person event, March 17th, 12 p.m. at HMTX Industries, 29 Oakwood Avenue in Norwalk. The Community Foundation of Middlesex County will host a special webinar. The world is changing daily. How can nonprofits navigate through a time of uncertainty? Well, yeah. Sarah Taylor, Senior Staff Attorney with the Pro Bono Partnership Connecticut Program, and Jen Fournier, Owner and Principal Consultant for Racebrook Consulting, will share their insights and expertise on topics including board roles and responsibilities, governance, and human resources. Wednesday, March 19th, 12 to 1 p.m. The Connecticut Land Conservation Council is hosting the state's largest land conservation gathering and CLCC's premier annual event, featuring a full day of educational workshops, as well as peer-to-peer networking, followed by an informal reception with friends and colleagues. March 22nd, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in person at the Frank Center for Public Affairs, Wesleyan University, 238 Church Street in Middletown. It's time for the 2025 Long Island Sound Summit. This year's summit will be an opportunity to explore the power of collaboration in advancing clean water solutions. Registration closes March 13th, so get on it. There is a $25 registration fee, but a limited number of scholarships to waive registration fees are available. This is an in-person event, of course, March 27th, 11 a.m. to 2:45 p.m. at Housatonic Community College, 900 Lafayette Boulevard in Bridgeport. Hey, our friends at Sustainable Suffield will host a repair cafe where visitors can drop in with their household items and get help repairing them free of charge. The event is open to the public, not just Suffield residents. The Suffield Repair Cafe is part of an international network of cafes and one of the first in Connecticut. Bring your stuff March 29th between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Suffield Senior Center, 145 Bridge Street in beautiful Suffield. And we have a last word or two about spring. Yes, spring is in the air. Well, okay, it may still be 12 degrees outside, but believe it or not, our spring certification deadline is just around the icy corner, April 8th. We always encourage municipalities to submit their applications before the deadline. And remember, we are here to help. If you have questions, problems, concerns, or you're just looking for a little guidance on your way to achieving certification or climate leader status, please reach out to us at info@sustainablect.org. We succeed when you succeed, so let's bloom together this year. And you can read all about in this month's exciting edition of Actions and Impact, the official Sustainable CT newsletter, except no substitutes. Do yourself a favor and subscribe. And you can do that where the flowers bloom like madness every single day at sustainablect.org.